Come here. Yeah. Come here. There we go. He's such a good boy. Yeah. Hold on, I'm just petting my cat for a second. Y'all can wait. I can pet my kitty cat. What is up with people who are like obsessed with like keeping all of their cats inside? Like, oh hey Dave. But like I keep seeing all this shit on Facebook. Like I saw this fucking thing earlier today and it's like if you let your cats outside, you don't really love your cats. And I'm like, yeah, if you don't turn these animals who need a lot of space to really thrive and be happy, if you don't put these animals in a small confined space for their entire lives, you don't love them. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I prefer it when I have inside cats, but like, it's kind of up to them. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I want my animals to be happy. And if they want to go outside and piss all over the neighbor's yard to be happy, then as a loving, you know, caregiver of this animal, the only thing I should do if I care about it is let it piss in the neighbor's yard so it can be happy. And then like other people are like, well, you know, animals get hit by cars and mauled by wild animals. Well, you know, your house can catch on fire too, right? Like, you can have electrical fires, you can have fucking wildfires, there could be like fucking hurricanes, a tornado. You could have somebody break into your house and like fucking, you know, John Wick your fucking cat. I don't. It's just the absurd of the hypothetical of it. Like, I don't want anything bad to happen to my cat, so I keep it miserable and in a confined space against its will. Like, it's cool. Like, I got inside cats, like Nanners. She'll go, like, she'll step, like, right outside the threshold of the door, and that's about as far as she's willing to go. And Dinah won't even go close to the door. She has no interest in going outside, but, like, they kind of have that choice, you know? Like, Anchor's right here. We let him out every morning when we get up. Every morning we get up, we open up the door and see if he wants to go outside. And every day, I don't know how this cat does it because he doesn't have a watch. But this dude somehow knows, like, when it's time to come home, when we'll be coming home from work, because he won't just be sticking around waiting. He'll be showing up like just in time, and it's like it's just wild to me, like how animals who don't have like watches and stuff like that, or even like communication skills, like how we can communicate with each other. Other animals really can't communicate as articulate and precise as we can with each other. But it just blew my mind, like an animal that can't even like carry on a conversation with another cat realistically still has a sense of time. And it's pretty fucking accurate, even if this little nigger cat doesn't have a fucking watch. But he's such a good kitty. Until he doesn't want to be. But I don't know, man. Like, my cat gets off on going outside. It makes him really happy. Um, I have had my neighbors come up to me and they're, oh, that's your cat? Oh, he's so sweet. He comes up and lets us pet him all the time. And, like, this dude is a slut, man. He would go crazy if I didn't let him outside so he could get extra food and pets from the neighbors. Dave, I have an outdoor cat. He pissed on my shit every time I try to keep him in. Yeah, man, like I don't know. It's just how those people could just con- they see these animals as like a fucking accessory though. That's the thing that really fucks me up about these people is they claim to love these animals, but they're treating them like a material object and not like an actual living breathing being who should have agency and autonomy. Um I don't know, man. That part really kind of fucks me up because it's like, I, imagine if people treated their children that way. Like, if they're like, well, if we let our kids outside, they could get picked up by strangers or get hit by a car or something. So we're never letting our children outside. I don't know, man. It seems cruel to me to keep an animal locked away when it doesn't want to be. Um, when it's not necessary. Like with Anki, he comes back every day, and if something did happen to him out there, I mean, at least he lived a good cat life. Like, at least he went out and did all kinds of fucking adventures and God knows what else. He didn't just sit around a fucking studio apartment for 19 fucking years, never knowing what a blue sky looks like. Oh, they do. If it makes you happy, it can't be that bad. Oh, they do. But yeah, man, it's just so strange, man. It's like, how can you claim you love something, but you want to, like, imprison it? I don't know. That just seems really weird. A lady got arrested for letting her 10-year-old son walk the neighborhood alone? What's what's the problem? I mean, was it Detroit? What's a shitty ghetto ass place in Philadelphia, Dave? I've never been there, so I wouldn't know. Or not Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I guess it's Philadelphia and Pennsylvania. I don't know. I ain't really fucked around with that part of the United States, to be honest. I find the northeastern people to be fairly obnoxious. I kind of feel about them the same way that I feel about French people. Like, they're not all bad, but most of them are a bunch of self-absorbed pompous asses. You mean Kensington? But yeah, that's wild. She got arrested for letting her 10-year-old walk around. Isn't that what 10-year-olds are supposed to do? I mean, dude, I was riding a big wheel around my fucking suburb neighborhood when I was like 7 years old, unattended. Like, I remember one time some old lady got so mad at me for like not getting out of her way that she, went and complained to my parents, and my dad had to give me a talk about how I'm not like the road doesn't belong to you, son. You have to give the bigger cars the right of way because they could run you over. I ruled that fucking road though. But I was doing that shit like 7 years old. There was one scare where they think that I got picked up by somebody, but I was just at the neighbor's house playing with the neighbor girl. We went into her house to play some board games. We were playing Operation. And nobody was home when I decided to go over there. I mean, I tried to tell somebody that I was going to go over there, but nobody was home. So it's just like, fuck it. Um, and then, like, I'm just minding my own business, play Operation. I come out of that fucking little girl's house, which is literally the next house over from mine. And I just see all these neighbors and shit like walking up and down the street looking really concerned. This one dude just like runs up to me, fucking face wide as it goes. It's like, is your name Matthew? And I was like, yeah. I was like, your parents have been looking for you for 2 hours. Where have you been? I mean, like, I've been playing board games with Brittany, man. Like, we were playing Operation. But yeah, man, that's fucking crazy. Like, was it a bad neighborhood or like? I mean, what's wrong with letting it? I mean, we are talking about the same people who like saw that clip of Elon Musk like walking 10 feet in front of his son, and like, look, he's abandoning his child. Like, what? Children are slow as fuck, bro. You gotta stop and let them catch up. It's like every child. Like, it would have been worse if he was like dragging the kid along. I mean, either way, that dude's getting fucked. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and sent for Elon though. I think the guy's full of shit for a lot of things as well. I mean, for his whole fucking spiel about free speech, my main account is still fucking suspended on Twitter because I said fag too much. I didn't realize that I couldn't say fag on the same platform where I can watch the fucking Taliban and other terrorist organizations behead people, or I could watch fucking Mia Khalifa get railed by 4 different fucking black guys, or I could also watch fucking Mexican cartel hits being done and people being executed that way. Like, I think not too long ago I saw a video where like they just tied this dude to a cinder block and threw him in the ocean. Yeah, that's okay, but I can't say fag. That's where you draw the line. Um, Murder is okay. Pornography is acceptable. Child grooming is acceptable. Lots of bots are acceptable. Lots of scams are acceptable. But we cannot have a single person say fag or it will ruin this platform. Sorry, I just wanted to have that brief moment of silence just to the absurdity of real life and just kind of just fucking marinate in your brain pan just for a moment and you'd be like, yeah, that is really fucked up. Like, nobody's banning the fucking ISIS from Twitter. But god damn it, we gotta get rid of that skinny faggot. He says too many naughty words. We can't control what he says, and that's a problem. Because that's what it boils down to. It's always just about control. It's never. They always fake it to make it seem like, oh, it's about protecting somebody else. But it never really is. It's always about control. Every single thing boils down to power and control. Not a single motherfucker walking this earth, including me, is so virtuous that we do everything out of the goodness of our hearts. Everything we do is to gain power and control. You want a better job so you can pay your bills? Well, guess what? That's you trying to attain more power and more control of your life and your finances. Doesn't always have to be a bad thing, but it is what it is. We are always seeking power and control, no matter who you are, what you're looking for. It's always one of the two, or both. But shit, I don't want control of other people's lives. I can't even control my own life, man. What the fuck am I going to do with everybody else? Fuck up their lives too? Hey guys, we're all going to ruin our credit at the same fucking time. I don't have the qualifications to control anybody. I can't even control my cat. Just give me a moment so I can die real quick. I'll be back when Jesus comes. Unlike smoking flower, like with like really hard bong rips, when I cough from this, I'm not necessarily coughing stuff up like I would a bong rip. My sinuses will clear out. Like I may have to blow my nose and stuff afterwards, like if my shit was stopped up a little bit. But it's a different cough than just like when you're on flower. The one that I get from doing dabs is just, it's like a little tickle in the back of your throat. You're not like hawking up loogies and stuff like when you take a massive bong rip and you're coughing into your eyes water. This one is just like it's like somebody just got a feather back there and they're just like tickle, 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 tickle. Did you see Trump kick the Ukraine dude out of the White House? Oh, you mean the Nazi? Yeah, I saw that. Good for Trump. Good for the U.S. Did you see all the people who just made it very clear that they are willing to side against the country just because their hatred of Trump is stronger than their love for their country? How anybody could see what that little fucking shit stain tried to come over here and guilt trip us over when Trump's like, I want people to stop dying. You are not going to gamble with World War III. This is not going to happen. What? Are we just supposed to let people die and slaughter each other for fucking nothing? What, more blood for the blood god? Would that make the warmongers happy? Fuck everybody who's like thinks any of that shit's fucking okay. All these fucking faggots out there who are like, oh, the Russians are bad. You know what? The Russians are people. I hire Russians, motherfucker. I defied the U.S. government, went around the embargo just so I could pay a fucking Russian and help put food on his table to feed his fucking family. Newsflash, motherfuckers. The Soviet Union collapsed in the 80s. Alright? Berlin Wall, that's gone. They're just fucking people. That part, the amount, and I hate to sound somewhat like an SJW, but the amount of Russian hatred that's ingrained in our society, that has been ingrained in our society and brainwashed into us. I mean, we had the entire Cold War for that. That is disgusting. That is disturbing. That is what real fucking racism, hatred, and ugliness looks like. Is when you have an entire country who all decide to hate Muslims at the drop of the hat. Or a whole, not a whole country now, but a large portion of the country who still hate another individual just because of what their fathers or their father's father may have done. Fuck all that shit. I'm not really keen on the politics of Putin, but I'm keen on the fact that every Russian person I have met has been incredibly kind, generous, and god damn it, I love those fucking people. I don't know their leaders, but I know a lot of the people, and they're good fucking folks in my book. How dare people ask me to fucking hate those fuckers? What? You think like I just watched Red Dawn my entire childhood and didn't realize it was a fucking fictional movie? The Russians never attacked us. They never had the means to. Even during the Cold War, when the whole shit ended, we found all their fucking silos were rusted out and filled with fucking swamp water. It was a fucking joke, and people pretend like these guys were the boogeymen. It basically turned out that Russia was like Wile E. Coyote the entire fucking time. And everybody still treats like it was like this huge big old thing. Like, I don't know. I know I'm just talking to you, Dave, but you ever think about that? Like, how pathetic the fucking USSR really was? How much of it was just show, just like North Korea does? Compared to just how fucked they were the entire time, and we didn't even know. We thought they were like this uber fucking minch powerful fucking bullshit going on over there. It's more like a fucking Alabama trailer park with guys trying to get the fucking hoopties running. I don't know. I just think it's funny. I can't hate people just based on what somebody else says, or I can't hate somebody just because they're from the north side of the tracks. If I met somebody who is North Korean, I wouldn't hate them either. I mean, even if I don't like a particular leader, for instance, I cannot stand Justin Trudeau. I think he's filth. I think he's a waste of human fucking life. I also think he's a fucking dictator. But do you think that means I hate Canadians? I mean, I do, but it's not because of Justin Trudeau. It's because they're Canadians. But the point remains. I don't hate them because of Justin Trudeau. I hate them because they're just Canadians. It's just, I have to. Somebody has to. Like, no one really shits on Canada all that much. So I just got to keep the playing field even. But they should be thankful because by shitting on them, you know, at least somebody's talking about Canada somewhere. Their existence is being acknowledged. But yeah, that shit with Zelensky was funny as hell though, man. Especially like the aftermath. I was seeing like somebody tweeted, "Hey, I got to deport my first Ukrainian." I don't know. You don't come over here and you ask that of us, especially in the times that. And we've already given those guys so much fucking money. Like 80% of the weapons we had given them didn't even make it to the front lines and just completely have disappeared. We know they've been selling all this shit on the side. I mean, they can fool the rest of America, I guess, but I'm not fooled. I never was. Ukraine, the government of Ukraine is to a degree put in power by the OSS slash CIA. If you, this is all recorded history. These are backed up all by reports and stuff. You remember Operation Paperclip? A lot of people are familiar with that one, where we recruited Nazi scientists to come over and start up NASA and shit like that. Because if we don't get them, the Russians will, right? Right. So, and by scientists, what I mean is, for the most part, Nazi war criminals. Uh, we brought them over here and we sheltered them and we protected them from the Nuremberg trials. Well, there were a lot of Nazis also in Ukraine who were fighting against Russia at the time as well, because, of course, Ukraine does not like Russia. Well, the OSS and the CIA helped establish a government over there, because the Ukraine government, as we know it today, has not existed for that long. Like, it's existed just slightly older than the state of Israel. All right? By maybe like 10 years. Not the people or the nation as a whole, but I mean their current government. We helped build that. Or not we, but the OSS and CIA, because we wanted somebody over there, and we needed like somebody as in like an ally, and it benefited us to have like these kind of allies in this territory over there right next door to help provide intelligence and everything on the fucking commies, on the USSR. Um anyways, fast forward to after the end of World War II, we ended up essentially making a more set in stone agreement with the people over, the Ukrainians over there in their government, by shielding most of them, because a lot of them were Nazis and the Jews were fucking coming for them. Well, if you do this for us, we'll shield you. That's why a lot of the Ukrainian Nazis were shielded from Nuremberg trials and weren't executed. That's why you had the Canadian Parliament, was it last year or the year before, give a standing ovation to a surviving Nazi, a Ukrainian Nazi soldier. I mean, holy shit. Like, if somebody put this in, like, a fucking movie or a sitcom or something, I'd be like, that is such terrible fucking... That could never fucking happen. But it does. It does. It's fucking crazy. I know, eventually I'm gonna play my game. I'm just really high. I'm just talking into the ether right now. But... anyways, the CIA set all that shit up and set them up as basically just a front to spy on them, and also to help launder money for the CIA, because, you know, they only get so much money from the actual government. They have to make money in other nefarious ways, which all this has been recorded too. You know, there's lots of reports of them when they started bringing over all the fucking cocaine across the borders with the cartels, and, you know, tit for tat, you know, make a little bit on the side yourself, all that fucking shit. Basically, the people who were supposed to be upholding laws were actually criminals themselves, but, you know. But yeah, that's why we were so entrenched and still are in Ukraine. We have been for a very long time. People just don't understand it. And yeah, and I hate the fact that the left has said the word Nazi so much that when I am talking about a nation full of people who are descended from literal fucking Nazis and still have those flags set up in places and are Nazis themselves carries no weight. Because now everybody I don't like is a Nazi. Even if you're talking about literal Nazis, it's like the boy who cried wolf. Except I never cried wolf. I didn't go around calling people Nazis. I only feel it's appropriate to call things what they actually are. And for the most part, a lot of those guys over there are, without a shadow of a doubt, actual Nazis. There are plenty of fucking reports of all kinds of fucking neo-Nazi shenanigans happening in the Ukraine. All up until recently. Then they kind of conveniently stopped reporting on that kind of shit. It's there. You can look it up. We have access to the internet now. You can't stop the signal. The governments are having more and more problems keeping people from accessing knowledge. True knowledge, not propagated knowledge that's been filtered through a media that they control. Just look this shit up if you don't believe me. If I'm wrong, look, I'm just some fucking retard and a weird TV on your phone or TV. Or maybe I'm streaming out of your butt. I don't fucking know, bro. But I just know that, you know, things aren't what they appear to be. And I implore people to start doing their own fucking research. Don't even listen to me. You can just discount everything I said and just, as long as it gets you to look shit up for yourself, make up your own fucking mind. But your government has been lying to you for a very long time, and this is not a conspiracy theory. This is a fact. Look into what Fauci did during the AIDS epidemic. And how a lot of people treated him like a hero. These people want you sick. You don't even know it. Or you refuse to believe it. I was watching this thing, or not this thing, but I saw this comment and it was pertaining to the fight in They Live between Roddy Piper and what's that, Keith David. And it was the fact, and he said that the fight was so long and drawn out to the point of just absurdity is because that's what it's actually like to try to red pill somebody. Like, that's how much fucking effort and fighting you will have to do to convince somebody to put the fucking glasses on. To start seeing things as they are. Not as they are told they are, but just as they are. Believe your eyes. They do not deceive you. Unless it's AI shit, then it might be. We gotta be a little bit careful about it now, guys, but you get what I'm saying, man. Like we gotta raise our standards, man. We can't just believe everything. I used to be a firm believer, like, you know, believing everything right off the bat. Then I kind of had a couple of run-ins with the law when I was actually doing nothing wrong whatsoever. but, you know, contextually, it was quote unquote suspicious. Anyways, I had troubles like that, and then afterwards, some people in my family would treat me like I was like a fucking troublemaker with the law and all this shit. And I'm like, but bro, it was all just like fucking circumstance shit. Like, I'm not even a troublemaker. I try to, you know, live and let live. I was actually a really good kid. I just have really terrible luck. Because what happened to me, like one of the arrests, was when I was a juvenile, and I think I want to say I was 13 years old, but it was me and one of my other friends were walking with this dude. I think his name was Sean. I don't know. I didn't hang out with this dude terribly often, especially after this incident. But anyways, we were walking down the road, and granted, it was like 2 in the morning, and the Sean dude was like 18, but it wasn't no kid diddler stuff. We were actually all hanging out. You know, we were all stoners and shit. But we were gonna go out for shroom hunting, and we went out and we looked in the fucking pastures, and we didn't find anything, because for one, we didn't bring a light, so like the only thing we had was like this shitty fucking lighter, but we didn't want to draw attention, so we were like sitting there like flicking it, like just trying to catch things. But it didn't last long. Eventually we got frustrated, and we decided to just walk back home. But on the ride home, just out of nowhere, like fucking 4 or 5 fucking squad cars pull up, cops jumping out of the fucking squad cars, pointing their guns at me, like telling me to get on the fucking ground and shit. I'm like fucking 13 years old, like shit in my pants, cause like it's not just cops that showed up. Like, I literally have like 6 to 8 fucking life-ending machines all pointed in my direction, bro. Like, whew. Anyways, I guess what had happened, and the reason why they showed up, was some other kids had broken into a gas station like 3 or 4 miles down the road. And they assumed it was us because we were a group of 3 just casually walking down the road. But I looked at him, I was like, yeah, bro, but like, wouldn't I like have a bunch of shit or something? He's like, you could have hidden that somewhere. Like, yeah, but like, that's pretty far away. Like, shouldn't I like be all sweaty and stuff, like exhausted? Because that's like 3 miles away. And we're obviously on foot. And it takes a normal man like 15 minutes to walk a mile. So if we're walking, it would take us 45 minutes. If we were running, it would probably take us 20 minutes. Because, you know, we're out of shape. We're kids. Honestly, that doesn't make any sense, bro. Like, if you responded to an alarm that went off, like, your response time is like you were there within 15 minutes. That's not even enough time for us to get this far. And if we did, like, I don't know. Looking back on it, the signs were there that I was retarded. Because I legit was, like, sitting there telling the cop, like, wouldn't I be covered in sweat? I mean, it seems like a really far away. I'd have to run. Doesn't look like I fucking ran anywhere. Anyways, it wasn't us, as it turned out. Even the gas station owner, because I guess he came in, because they actually took us to the gas station where it happened, and like, had some other cop show up to do fingerprints, and I'm like, oh, hey, man, you gonna fingerprint this shit? Like the CSI guys? He's like, yeah, they had to call me out here for this, so you better hope that you actually didn't do it. You're not just lying. And I was like, whatever, dude. Like, They caught the actual kids, but they still took me to juvenile detention center for what they called was CHINS, which is child in need of supervision. Because technically, even though Sean was like 18 or 19 or what, I think he was 19 because he was able to buy cigarettes. Yeah, he was 19. But for him to have counted as like a supervisor, he would have had to been over 21. Which seemed a little weird, but whatever. But yeah, so they charged me with that. And they put me in a cell and pretty much scarred me for life because I committed the high treason of goofing off with my friends and minding our own business until suddenly our nights were ruined by a bunch of police officers who couldn't detect their way out of a paper bag, probably. Anyways, like, while we were sitting there, like, in the gas station waiting for, like, the fingerprint and stuff like that, the owner, he even looked at the cop. He looked at me, and then he looked at the cops. He's like, those kids didn't do this. Because the owner knew my dad, too. He's like, Matt's a good kid. He wouldn't do shit like this. Like, I know, like, I cause a stir sometimes, but I'm not, like, necessarily a troublemaker. Sometimes I get into shenanigans, but, like, my shit's pretty innocent. My shenanigans is, like, more on the level of, like, let's take the trucks off of skateboards, wax them up, and then ride them down these hills of pine straw. Which sounds like a really good idea, but is actually a very dangerous idea that leads to a lot of injuries. But not injuries that I wanted to happen. But usually, if anybody gets hurt during my shenanigans, it's me. Actually, that's oftentimes a guaranteed. If I have shenanigans going on, I'm the one getting hurt. It's not going to be anybody else. It's definitely going to be me. It always is. It doesn't matter whose idea it is. But especially when it's my idea, I get like doubly targeted. I like get cursed of the origin of faith. I don't know. But I did do like one, like, I don't want to say, like, what I actually did was really bad, but like as a kid I didn't really understand that what I did necessarily was bad while I was doing it. But when I was 7 or 8 years old, I led a group of other children, and we basically, like, turned into a bunch of ninja burglars for a day. And, like, I was like, we're gonna set up our clubhouse. And, like, I was thinking, like, in my head, like, in the movies, the kids always just grab a bunch of random shit from random places. Like, sometimes it's from, like, a fucking... One thing's from like a junkyard, and other things like some kid took it from the local barber while he wasn't looking, and you know, just like in the movies it's like an innocent thing. In real life, not so much. It's called theft. But yeah, I had us take a bunch of stuff. We ended up breaking into some dude's like work garage, and we took a bunch of spark plugs, and I don't even know why. We didn't know what the fuck they were. And then we took like some crab traps. And then somebody in the neighborhood had a fucking parakeet. Like one of the... No, it was one of those white birds. Is it parakeet or a cockatoo? I'm not a bird expert, so... But hey! You're gonna be a bird expert when I fucking yeet your ass into the bush. But anyways, it's that one of those white birds with like the fucking yellow feather or whatever. I think it's a cockatoo, or it may be a parakeet. Either or, it's a cockapee. We're just gonna call it that, the cockapee. Well, we were trying to, I decided we were gonna set up our clubhouse on, and it was just like, it was um, just a flatbed trailer for hauling lumber and shit on that somebody just parked. So it was just like right there out in the open. So we threw our crab traps on there and stuff. And they were like, "This is our clubhouse." And then I was like, "Hey, we need a mascot too. Let's go get that fucking bird back there, and he'll be our friend like in the movies, and it'll help get us out of trouble." So that's what we did. We went over there and we had Operation Free the Bird, and we got the bird and we brought it with us, and the bird was pretty chill at first. And then, then the bird just left. Eventually, it got done with chilling with us. Like, we brought it back to the club and everything. We were like, we got our bird. We got our mascot, It was pretty cool. Until it wasn't. And then, when it wasn't, was when, my father came home and the authorities kind of showed up, and they had told my parents some stuff at the door, and they kind of peeked in and looked in at me, but I didn't deal with cops this time, thank fucking Christ. I was really too young, but yeah, it was explained to me that what I did was against the law, and it was not a cool thing to do. Despite my upbringing and seeing other children participate in similar shenanigans on TV, what I did was incredibly wrong and dangerous, and I should never do it again. And I haven't. I don't steal or do none of that shit. I mean, the worst thing that I do is, probably tax evasion and smoking weed. And I pay my taxes at work, too, so I'm not even very good at tax evasion. I just aspire to be better at tax... I aspire to be a tax evasive expert. If I can ever figure out how to opt out. But right now, they take everything automatically, so I don't know. But we'll see. But no, I don't really do bad things. Even back then, I wasn't trying to, steal shit from people necessarily. I was just going by what I had seen previously, which isn't me trying to, be like, I did nothing wrong. Yeah, I did some bad shit. I shouldn't have done that. I'm just trying to justify it in my little mind on that I wasn't trying to harm anybody. I didn't necessarily understand the act of theft. I just understood the act of, in every kid's movie or kid's cartoon, when they want to build a clubhouse, they just get a bunch of random shit from a bunch of random places, and nobody ever calls the cops on them for it. That was my understanding going in, because I know, my sister would argue with me even today about, you were taking stuff, you should have known better. I was like, oh, the examples I was presented with on television said otherwise. Said that borrowing is a thing. And sometimes when people don't miss something after you've taken it, that means it's yours. So, later on I did later on in life, shortly after I married Aubrey, I want to say, hold on, but the only other time I've stolen anything, was from my mom, and I know you're like, oh my god. But it's something silly too. I still don't consider it me stealing from her, but it's the closest I can come to that act. But at one point, I'm doing the good son thing, and I'm cleaning out her garage, and at the time, my price for doing so was just get me a bottle of liquor, like a bottle of Bacardi rum, and a pack of smokes, and just let me do my thing, and don't come out there and bother me. If I have questions, I will bring them to you, but just let me do my thing. Don't stay out of my hair. That's my one rule, is when I'm doing something, just stay out of my fucking hair. I don't think that's much to ask. Like, it's okay if you want to help and everything, but as long as you're not in my hair. But the moment you start pestering me and you constantly drive my attention away from the things that I need to put it towards, is when I get annoyed. But anyways, that was my policy with my mom, because she wanted to pay me with like something or whatever, because they're like, I would have done it for nothing, but that's why my price ended up being a pack of smokes and a bottle of Bacardi, because I was like, well, just buy me a drink and fucking smokes, and we'll call it even. Anyways, cleaning out her garage, and this isn't a childhood home or anything, so this is all shit she's gathered with my stepdad over the years. But I come across a really nice dish set, and I asked her about it, and she never does anything with it. And then like a year later, I come around, and she's already like fucked up the garage again with her fucking hoarder shit, and like the amount of books this woman has by Rush Limbaugh and fucking Mark Levin is she's got all the books, man. If there's a political book, she's got it. And I don't even think she's read any of them. She just hears about them on the little podcast that she listens to. And then she'll see them at a bookstore or something, and she'll just buy it and never read it and be like, oh yeah, I'll read it eventually. It's so strange because her books taste is so weird, because it goes from like Rush Limbaugh stuff to like fucking true crime books. Then it switches over to romance novels. Which, the romance novels I see, but I don't know, it's just a really strange combination of books that she never reads. Anyways, like this dish that after I'd already brought it to her attention again, had sat in her garage for another year. So I decided I'm going to save it and salvage it. And I just take it home. Fucking 2 years later, this bitch calls me and she's asking me, did you take that dish set? I'm like, what dish? I'm playing stupid now. I'm like, what dish set? What the fuck are you talking about? She's like, that one that you talked about when you cleaned out the garage. And I was like, you mean fucking, like 5 years ago? She's like, yeah, well, I finally went out there to get it, and it's not out there anymore. I'm just wondering if you got it. And I'm like, oh, of course I fucking took it, but I took it like 2 or 3 years ago, Mom. So I'm keeping it. I was like, it wasn't in your possession for this long, and you didn't even know. I was like, you're not allowed to have it. I was like, I told her it was manifest destiny. She got pissed off and hung up on me on the phone. But yeah, like, that's my shenanigans. Like, I'll troll the shit out of my mom or something like that. But I'm not going to do nothing to, like, criminal. It's just crossing lines, man. Trust me, what I did was okay. My mom she was in no shortage of dishware. She's not necessarily a hoarder, but I guess like what would be like a step down from a hoarder, just slightly like a pack rat. I would think that a pack rat would be worse than a hoarder, but like she's not as bad as you see on TV. Like you can walk through her whole house and stuff. It's just her other areas, like the garage area, just ends up filled with so much shit. She just walks back there and puts away and just completely forgets about that it ever existed. It's her little phantom zone, you know. I was in there one day and I found Zod. Huh. I fucking hate this part because this faggot up here likes to hang out with the thing and throw bombs at. Well, these guys touch my butt in my no-no zone. Man, that shit with Trump was kind of funny though. It's like watching a father try to tell his teenage daughter that she's not responsible enough for a new car. It's basically like, I'm taking your license away, bro. You have no cards. With us, you have cards. Without us, you have no cards. Jesus, lots of guys. You have no cards. Go fish, Zelensky. That's what Trump should have said instead of this typical you fag. Go fish. Maybe you'll get a nice mackerel. I hear they're really good out there. They're very great. Lots of good fish out there, you know. Just gotta work for it. And grab it by the pussy. Or by the tuna. Sorry, I misspoke there. Media will take that out of context. Very vicious, the media. The media will tell you you have cards. But the media only has a checkerboard. How would they know? They only know how to king me. And you only know how to go fish. Because you have no cards. If this were Uno, you would be winning. But it's not. You're losing terribly. Your idea is to have the most cards. Just trying to imagine get this big spiel about cards to Zelensky. Look, Volodic. You mind if I call you Volodic? I'm going to anyways. But Volodic, you gotta know when to hold him. And know when to fold him. Know when to walk away. And know when to run. You, sir, you need to run. You have no cards. Your bluff has been called. You have no chips on the table. No, Zelensky, I think he'd make the worst bridge player partner ever. Pretty sure the idea of bridge is to, like, collect the cards. So that bit might actually work. No cards, no cardigans. In fact, you have so little cards. I regret to inform you, Zelensky, you no longer have a green card. Zelensky, what was your show called? I know it wasn't House of Cards. Okay. Love you too. No, I'm gonna get up. So I'm probably gonna go to bed soon too. I'm gonna get this to last because that high skill amount is only 3% chance. I still need to get these two. These two. These two. These two. And this one right here. Oh yeah, and then these two as well. I use my energy orb very often, so I haven't unlocked this one. But this one does sound kind of useful. Because for every little bit of my shield lost, my recovery speed is up by half of what I lost. And then I also get a reduction in my recovery intervals too. I need to hurry up and beat this boss so I can get the next difficulty on mine. See, this is what I wanted. Unlike other games, it's barring me from doing it until I complete it on this one. Which I'd rather just grind out one of these harder difficulties, honestly, so I can get used to that. That's why I usually, like, if you see me when I start a new game on something, I usually select it on the hard because I don't know. I like a good challenge. I grew up in the 90s where most of our games could be beaten in a single sitting of like hour and a half, 2 hours, if you were really good. But the thing is those games are made incredibly difficult to lengthen the gameplay of it. Length the gameplay, how long it took somebody to beat it. A lot of games were made harder than they were originally supposed to be, just to pad out the game time. But in doing so, that kind of, some of us like that. Like that, we we like dying a lot. We like trying again. We don't like being able to just blaze through the fucking campaign without dying a single time. I like a challenge. Sometimes I get really frustrated with games. But honestly, I feel like when I do get frustrated, that's when my controller's fucking up or the game's just glitching out or something. Which does happen. Anyways, we'll catch you guys later.